Lately, I've noticed a spike in live events. I mean, they're popping up everywhere, and I've got to believe that they're good for business. So I decided to turn to my good friend, Steve Hopper. And if you don't know Steve Hopper, you will after this episode. He is an amazing speaker, an inspirational speaker, a motivational speaker, and he puts on some pretty kick-ass events. If you have never been to a Steve Hopper event, you might want to check it out because it's like none other I've been to. So today I interviewed my good friend Steve, and he takes us all through putting on a live event, what you need to look out for, how to make sure you really present with authority, all the things that make up an amazing event. Episode 115 starts right now. Hey there, welcome to the Laura Shipman Show. We hang out here weekly to talk about things like social media, entrepreneurship, marketing, tools, strategies, tips, and it all starts right now. Hey there, before we get started with this show, I just want to share my passion with you. I love teaching people just like you how to master social media for business, breaking it down into easy to consume and easy to execute steps so that you can see immediate results. So whether you want to start a social media consultancy or grow your brand's presence on social media, I can help. I can help you get started and master all the things that you need to know. So I want you to go over to my website. It is filled with resources, tools, tips, and courses. Visit laurashipman.com. That's LORA Shipman.com to get all the goods. Now, you ready for the show? I know I am. Let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I'm so excited to introduce to you a very good friend of mine, Steve Hopper from Steve Hopper International. And I don't want to steal his thunder because you're going to love him. He's super motivating and you're going to learn a lot from him today. So Steve, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Laura, thank you for having me. It's always just a huge honor to be in your presence and especially to be interviewed by you because you are such an influencer in our community and beyond. So it's a big honor to be interviewed by you here today.
Oh, thank you. That is so sweet. For those of you who don't know, Steve and I go back, I don't know how many years, but we've known each other for quite a while, several years, yeah. And we live in the same local community. And I feel the same way about you because you are a huge influence to our community. And the things that people say about you and what you do are just amazing. And to give people a little bit of a taste of that, what is it that you do? And explain to them who you are and all the great things Steve Hopper.
Well, I am a full-time motivational and keynote speaker. I've also authored a book called From Prison to Purpose. I'm working on book number 2 and number 3 simultaneously right now as we speak. And I'm also a business coach. I'm a peak performance strategist. So I help business owners, professionals, entrepreneurs, speakers, coaches really elevate their business to the next level. Just by sharing best practices, being that accountability partner, and just teaching them the things that I've learned as I've grown my speaking and coaching business over the years, and just sharing those things with them to help take them to the next level. So it's always good to have a second pair of eyes on your business. Mm-hmm. So just a speaker, coach, and just love getting out and just inspiring people. Obviously motivation comes from within. So, I call myself a motivational speaker because that's what people search for when they're looking, right? They go to Google, they don't type in inspirational speaker, they type in motivational speaker. But the truth is that motivation does come from within. But my goal is to get out there and inspire people to really tap into that motivation that could help elevate them to new places in business and in their life.
So, and we could do an entire podcast just on this next question I'm going to ask you, but share a little bit of your unique background story and how you actually became a motivational, inspirational speaker and how you developed as that person.
Yeah. So I, grew up wanting to play football. It's what I wanted to do with my life, and got into high school and had all the opportunities there for the taking. But one night, my senior year in high school, I made a split-second decision at a high school keg party one night that would literally change the course of my life forever. A big fight broke out at a party that I was attending my senior year, and I engaged in the fight. Didn't think anything of it at that moment. We had been in those types of situations before, but 3 days later, the sheriff's department showed up at my parents' house with a warrant for my arrest. one of the teens that I had hit during that altercation on Friday night had slipped into a coma. And at that moment, it was just like the clock stopped ticking in my life. And my father took me and he turned me into the county jail. And he said, son, we're going to get this figured out. We're going to get this worked out, keep your head up. And, I spent 3 months there in the county jail my senior year, waiting to find out if this young man was going to live or if he was going to die, waiting to find out if he was going to come out of this coma and survive. And thank God, after about 3 months, he did come out of the coma. But, when I speak at the high schools and the middle schools, Laura, you try to impart on our youth that, when you make bad decisions in life, there are almost always bad consequences that come along with those. And for me, those consequences were going to be great. So to make a long story short, at 17 years old, for that one swing, that one lapse in judgment, they sentenced me to 10 years in Florida State Prison.
That story, I've heard your story several times, and it still, just moves me so much because you seriously did go through a lot. And to come out of that the other end and where you are today and where you are in business is just miraculous. And I think also very motivational and inspiring because a lot of people get stuck in their business and they want to give up right away. Here, the deck was kind of stacked against you, but you needed to start your business and you needed to stay motivated and inspired to do that. And it's just an incredible story to me. And I love that. And I think what we should do some point is have you back maybe and talking about that story.
Sure.
And so people can understand that, because there's a lot to take from that story.
No, there is totally.
There is.
I for me, the big transition, the big change in my life was about a year into my incarceration. It wasn't that swing on that beach that night that really changed the course of my life. It was about a year in prison, and I had come to a real crossroads. I got sent to one of the worst prisons in Florida. Life was rough. I was 1 year into a 10-year sentence, and for me, there was no light at the end of the tunnel. And I really came to this huge crossroads. And I had two decisions that night in that cell. One was to give up or to get up. And obviously, what decision I made, because I'm still here. But that night created a shift in my life because I realized that my life did have a meaning. It did have a purpose, that there was something that I was here for, something I was going to go and do. And just like everybody listening to this podcast right now, I believe that everybody listening to this has a purpose. There's something that they're destined to go and accomplish, something they're destined to do. Their experiences have gotten them prepared for this moment right here in their life if they just take advantage of it. So I woke up that next day and just had this new lease on life. And I knew that if I was going to go do something and accomplish something with my life, that I needed to develop myself from the inside out. So I began to eat, sleep, drink every ounce of self-development material that I could get my hands on. And I didn't know what I would use it for one day. I had no idea that I was going to be a motivational speaker or business coach. I just wanted to get better. I wanted to make myself better. And I ended up doing 7 years on that 10-year sentence, got out of prison, went and did some cool things in corporate America. 2008, got laid off. And then that's what forced me into entrepreneurship and really led me to this road that I am on now. And really got me to a point where, when I lost that job in 2008, I really began to search. And I began to pray and ask God, what is my purpose? What do you want me to do? What am I here for? Why have I been through all of this other than just my own bad decisions, right? Like what are you going to do with this? What do you want me to go and do? And that's kind of what led me to this road that we're on. And it's been a super exciting journey. So many lives have been changed and impacted. And at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about.
And it's funny because I've seen you grow your business and I've seen you start out as a local speaker, but then spread your wings to an international speaker, which I think is amazing. And I think what you're going to teach us or talk to us about today, the power of live events and how that can grow your business. I mean, you live and breathe that whole message right there about, doing live events. So take us through that a little bit. What does that look like?
So I'll tell you how I got started doing live events, obviously, right? When I first started speaking, and when I first got this calling and realized that this is what I was supposed to be going and doing, I I actually started to receive a lot of calls. People wanted me to come and speak. And it all happened because of a magazine article that was put out about me and my story, which led to a lot of people wanting me to come and speak.
Mhm.
The problem is nobody wanted to pay me to come and speak. So here I am, a father, of 4 kids that, just, trying to build something here, and nobody wanted to pay me to speak, right? Everybody wanted to let me come and speak, but nobody wanted to pay me to do that. And so I began to study the speaking industry. Matter of fact, I always tell this story. I was several months into speaking, and my wife was, I was just so excited that people wanted me to come and talk, and I was
Mhm.
excited to share my story, and I was excited to be inspiring people. And my wife came to me and said, "Hey, I love that you're doing this. I love that you're inspiring and motivating people, but are you ever going to make any money at this?" Right? So I was like, "Yeah, I guess I got to figure that out." So I began to study the speaking industry. And, I began to develop some things, and I began to still send my information out to people. And I began to get a few little paid speaking gigs here and there, but it still wasn't at the level that I wanted it to be at. And, I began to really think about it. And I was like, I have so many friends in this community. I know so many people in this community. Why don't I just do my own event?
Mm.
And then I don't have to worry about anybody giving me permission to come in. I don't have to worry about anybody paying me to speak. I can come in and I can set up my own event, and I can get up and I can share my expertise, share my knowledge. And then those people will ultimately, hopefully, this was my thought process in the beginning, will hopefully want to do business with me because I'm having the opportunity to share my heart and my expertise with them, which may lead to them hiring me to do some coaching with them, or even open up more doors for some of those paid speaking opportunities. And I can tell you, Laura, that it was one of the best decisions I ever made to start doing that, because it opened up so many doors, and it's just grown and it's grown and it's grown. So we literally are doing live events every 2 months. We're doing a live event. We just laid out a calendar for 2020. We've got an event obviously coming up in January, our Profit from Speaking event, and then we have another one in March, and then May, and then July, and so we've got them scheduled out throughout the entire year, because they are literally that powerful to do these live events. And what I see at a local level, and I'm sure this is happening on a national level as well, is that many entrepreneurs and business professionals and even business owners are not taking advantage of the opportunity that they have to go and do live events, to
Mhm.
expand their circle of influence, to draw people to them, to prove to the masses that they are an expert in their industry, and position themselves as an authority, because we always all want to do business with an authority, right?
Right.
So having the opportunity to do that through live events is huge for anybody in their business.
So these events that you're doing for 2020, are they local or are you traveling to?
So the events that we have on the calendar right now are
Mhm.
all local in the
Mhm.
Tampa Bay area.
Okay.
However, we are in negotiations with some other people across the country in taking some of these events. We're still fine tuning our system over here,
Mhm.
which so our big goal is to start taking these events across the country, which is something we're going to start doing, yes, in 2020.
Oh, that's really exciting. That's cool. So, for someone like me and a lot of the entrepreneurs that are listening in, let's say, the digital marketing space or even the coaching space as business coaches and health coaches and things like that, you do see a lot of these local events and just events popping up, but sometimes it seems overwhelming to do it yourself. How does somebody get started? What are some best practices they can use to get started doing a local event?
Well, it's funny because I actually, just this past year developed a new coaching program called the Six Figure Seminar System.
Oh.
And yeah, and so basically what I teach and coach on in this Six Figure Seminar System is everything from how to go and find the venue, to picking your date, to coming up with a name for your event, to figuring out the content that you're going to provide at that event, and then ultimately what your call to action is going to be at the end of that event, right? Because we
Mhm.
always want to deliver some form of call to action, because if you've put on an event and you've gotten up there and you've delivered all of this value, then you should be in a position where the people in the audience are wanting to know how they can engage with you further.
Right.
So a lot of times I see people fail at this one aspect, which is that call to action. So you've got to give your audience an opportunity to engage with you at another level. And that tends to be where a lot of your new business will come from. But in the beginning, one of the things I teach in that system is to keep your cost down. A lot of people think it has to be very expensive. So I started out small. I went to, found a venue that I could negotiate, and most venues will negotiate with you. If they want your business and they want to develop a strong long-term relationship with you, then they will negotiate with you. And I'm talking about hotels. I'm talking about, specific meeting spaces. And so I know, Laura, you've been to several events at several different locations. I've even done events at churches. Churches a lot of times will have a nice big meeting area, not obviously in the sanctuary, but they might have a really nice big meeting area. And a lot of time churches will open their doors for you, and you're making some type of love offering to that church to utilize that space. So there's a lot of different ways to places that you can go to do your events if you just think outside the box a little bit. But the key thing is to keep your costs at a minimum, right? Because if it's not profitable for you, then you're probably not going to do it too many times, right? So keep your costs down, meaning, utilize your networks. Keep your, when you're looking for your venues, obviously negotiate those down, get them real low. And then go out and network, feet to the pavement, utilize your social networks as well in just putting that information out there. I say for local events, you usually want to start promoting them about 90 days in advance. So, just getting the word out that this event is coming and just inviting people. A lot of times I'll tell people, do the event for free so that you can draw as many people in as you can. And you obviously want to have something that you're going to speak on or teach on that people are going to be interested in. That's how you fill the room. So like just the event that we have coming up in January, it's called Profit from Speaking. So obviously the title of the event tells you what we're going to be teaching that day is how you can use speaking to make more money in your business.
That's okay. So I have a couple of questions.
Okay. Yes.
So if you're just starting out at this whole event thing and speaking, what do you recommend is a good starting? Like, how long should the program be as a beginner? Like, how many hours should you put together?
So when I first started, I was doing half day events.
Okay.
That gives you an opportunity to, people come in and we would kick things off about 9:00, and then we would be done about 12 or 1. That way you don't have to worry about, food. Everybody starts getting hungry around lunchtime. So, that gives you about 3 hours to get up and really deliver some powerful content and brand yourself again as that expert in your industry, provide value to your audience, and people walk away at that point wanting more. And once I kind of mastered that 3-hour workshop, then we started moving to full day events, because what I realized was that I had so much content to share with everybody that delivering it all in just that first part of the morning became difficult. It became difficult to give them the value that I really wanted to give them. So we started extending to full day events. And then, of course, now we're doing some 2 and 3 day events as well. So we can really just spend a ton of time with people, just pouring into them.
So now, is it just you doing, sending the message or whatever it is you're talking about, or are you adding other partners and other people to the program?
Well, obviously, I have a team that helps me put on my events. When we do our 1-day events, it's usually me speaking. When I do my 2-day events, I will, tend to bring in a guest speaker. And when we do our 3-day events, like our summits, then I'll bring in several different speakers. And everybody just has, plenty of time to get up there and share. And so everybody gets a good look from several different speakers. But, everybody's bringing something different to the table, though, So like when I did my 7-figure coaching summit last year, we had speakers that came in that were experts in social media, online marketing, and different things like that. So really just teaching these coaches how to grow their business all the way across the board. everything from structuring their coaching programs to all that kind of stuff.
So is there, when you're putting together a program like this, is there a strategic day of the week that maybe works better than others? Because like I know some people, like, do you do it on a Monday or do you avoid Mondays altogether and maybe do it midweek? Like, what's a good day of the week to do this?
Yes, I totally avoid Mondays.
Okay.
Right? So yes. And, and so we have, Laura, we have tested this and tested this and tested this over the years. And what I found is doing it towards the end of the week is obviously better. Okay. So people, they're going back to work on Mondays. They're getting back in the groove after their weekend, and Tuesday and Wednesday, etc. So we like to do our events on like Thursdays or Fridays. And on our 2-day events, we'll do a Friday or a Saturday, or we'll do a Thursday or a Friday. Okay. The only time we incorporate a Sunday is on our 3-day event. So we'll do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we'll also, sometimes we'll do a Thursday, Friday, Saturday for our 3-day events to give everybody at least one day of their weekend. People don't like to give up their weekends.
Right.
They just don't. And the beginning of the week is usually, pretty rough to get people to an event as well. So if they can plan and they can do the things they need to do at the office the first few days of the week, and then they know, hey, I'm going to be at this seminar on Thursday, or I'm going to be at the seminar on Friday, then they'll keep that day open and they'll get everything done they got to do at the beginning of the week.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I know my week slows down. Actually, that's how I first met you, is you were doing a workshop on a Friday morning, and it worked out with my schedule because by then I'm kind of done all my client work and my clients are off doing other things. It just made
most people have checked out by Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah. Most people have 3-day weekends, even though they're not technically, they don't have 3-day weekends. Like they're already at the weekend on Friday. So
and that
Fridays are good days, definitely.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And so when you're doing these events and everything, we talked about this a little bit beforehand. You said, give yourself 90 days to market the event. What kind of advice can you give us? Like, it's not good enough, I don't think, to do just one Facebook ad and throw it up there. And you said you kind of had to pound the pavement a little bit. Tell us what those 90 days look like leading up to the event.
Well, I think if you're doing a local event, obviously, then networking is key. Because I have a team helping me now. Prior to having the team, though, of course, I was out there pounding the pavement on my own. But there are so many networking opportunities throughout your community, regardless of where you're listening from right now. There are networking groups all over your town. There's Rotary clubs. There's organizations like Keep It Local, right? There's organizations like B&I and different ones like that. So just going out and visiting those different groups and just telling them what you got going on. I literally will walk into a networking group and get up and do a quick 30-second commercial and say, hey, everybody, I'm Steve Hopper. I'm a motivational speaker. We have an upcoming event on this date, and we're going to teach you this. If you think that's valuable for you and your business, which I do, then you need to attend this event. So come see me at the end of the meeting and I'll give you more details. And so I just, we blanket the area and we hit all the networking groups. And that's how we do that. I also have a concept that I teach in the 6-figure seminar system, but I'll give it to you guys now, is a ticket. Even if you're doing a free event, having a physical ticket that you can pass out to people that actually has all the information on the ticket for the upcoming event, psychologically what it does is it just makes that event more real and more tangible to the people that you're inviting to that event. And this works especially good for free events. So, you can even put a value on that ticket for people and give it to them for free. And they look at that ticket and they see a value and they go, oh my gosh, I can't not pass this up. Either that or they feel so bad that you gave them this ticket for free that they'll actually give it to somebody else if they don't think they can make it. And, you still served your purpose because you got a butt in the seat, which is the ultimate goal, is to fill that room with people.
So I'm going to show you something, and I know our listeners can't really see what I'm about to show you, but there's from 2017. We're in 2020 right now. There's a ticket that says Facebook Like a Boss, and it's got Steve Hopper's face on one side. Oh, look, it's got Laura Shimon's
Oh
face
my
on the
goodness.
other. I
Yay.
saved that. Can you believe
Look
I
at that.
saved that? But
That's funny.
it's the psychological aspect of it, because as a presenter at this event, that was like a big deal for me to have my face on a ticket. And then the one thing that you guys don't see here is he does have a $49 admission fee on the ticket face. And you did. I remember you came into a networking meeting and you passed these things out. And I think there's a couple things that goes on here. It's a tangible thing. It shows who the speakers are so that people get to know you a little bit better, and that wall
Right.
kind of breaks down. And then he has on here just all the benefits or the value nuggets that the attendees were going to receive from this event. And it just validated that $49, but it was like such a huge win when you got the ticket for free.
Right. Yeah. And that's key right there. Those bullets that you just mentioned right there, letting the audience know what they're going to get, because everybody wants to know what's in it for me. Well, if you come to this event, you're going to learn this, you're going to learn this, and you're going to learn this. What is the overall benefit to them to be there? So it's important that information goes on all your marketing material. So we talked a little bit about promoting offline. And, you mentioned ads earlier, and I know you being a social media expert, you're all about running the ads, and so are we. But I will tell you, Laura, that your organic marketing on social media is huge. I mean, it's huge. Without even running an ad, just us posting about the upcoming event and people sharing that so that their friends are seeing it. We have filled rooms just with that concept alone, just by posting on social media, just posting about the upcoming event and keeping people engaged and informed of what's coming. That's without even running an ad. Now, obviously, you can run an ad to a specific target market because you do want some specific butts in those seats, people that are actually your ideal client. And that's where you use your social media ads for that to target those individuals. But I mean, you can fill a room just by going out and visiting some local networking organizations, tell everybody about the event, passing out tickets, and then, of course, making posts on social media from an organic standpoint. You can fill a room that way very easily.
Well, and I think you're really good at this too, because I've had you come in when you're about to promote an event. You'll come in and be a featured speaker at a networking group, and you'll give people like a little taste or a little flavor of what they can expect. And it's almost like that cliffhanger, because you stop it at just a point where they're like, oh my gosh, I need the rest of the story. And then they come to the event to get the rest of the story.
Absolutely. And there's, when you go and you speak at, like, let's say you're a featured speaker at a networking event, you're only going to have about 10 minutes or so.
Right.
So it's key to really give them some value in that 10 minutes and then say, hey, listen, I'm going to elaborate on this in great detail at this upcoming event. You guys need to be there. Don't miss it. We're going to have either a half day together or we're going to have a full day together to really deep dive into this content so that you can actually go and apply this in your business. So don't miss this event. And people are just like, all right, cool. I'm there, sign me up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay, I have a couple of questions. So now that we've got our event scheduled, we know what we're going to talk about at the event, and we're marketing the event. Take us through just some basic room advice, because you don't want to show up to a bare room, right? What are some things that you should have present in the room to make for a really good event?
Well, I would say aesthetically, you want to pick a clean place. I shot a live video on Facebook the other day, and I said, everything that you do is a representation of your brand. So if you're doing an event in the back room of a restaurant that's run down and it only seats 12 people and you fit 20 people in there, your pictures are not going to come out good. Your video is not going to come out good. And people that do attend that event may not come to the next one.
Yeah.
So you always want to make sure that you pick a venue that aesthetically is going to be good for your brand. It's going to be good for your pictures. It's going to be good for your video, because, every time you do an event, you want to gather those things because you want to build that social proof for the next event. So as you're promoting your next event, you've got social proof that the last event was good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's key. I would also say that in the beginning, I started out with a laptop and a couple of Bose speakers.
Okay.
Yep. And I used the facilities projector and their projector screen. I think anytime you do a seminar or workshop, you definitely want to have some visuals for the audience. Okay. With your speakers, you can play a little bit of music as they're coming in, some upbeat music. It really just kind of sets the mood. I would say always have that open area there at the beginning of the event so people can network with each other a little bit prior to sitting down and getting started, because that really just kind of enhances the mood as well. But in the beginning, I started out simple. I just had a laptop. I just had a couple speakers, and I would get up and I would go through my presentation. I would do my thing. So as we continued to grow, I began to invest in my own equipment. And that way, now when I show up to a hotel, all I'm paying the hotel for is just that room, period. I don't need their audio equipment. I don't need their visuals. I don't need any of that. We have our own microphones now, our own speakers, our own, everything. But it wasn't that way in the beginning. So when you first start out, keep it simple, but keep it professional. Keep it professional. And you always want to have an uplifting mood. You always want to have some music playing. If you walk into an event and it's just kind of like blah, then, people are, it's going to affect your presentation in a big way. Yep.
That's really good advice, because I think a lot of times people may be thinking about doing events, but think that they need to go full guns into the event. I think it's okay, like you say, keep it clean and professional. That's all you really need to get your message across. So tell me about this. Materials and handouts for the attendees. Is that really critical? Like, what do you provide? What do you suggest people have in place for that? Or anything at all? I mean, is that necessary?
It's preference. I don't do, I've had events where we pass out workbooks, which, those are pretty cool at times. Most people, we pass out notepads. So we have invested in some branded notepads and pens. So we have those sitting on every table so that people can take notes and all that kind of stuff. One of the other things that we do is we use our slides or our content as a lead capture at the event. So what we'll do is we will, offer the slides. Hey, listen, guys, so you don't have to take pictures and you don't have to take a ton of notes unless you want to, obviously. If you go to this, we will email everybody the slides at the end of the event. You know what I mean?
Oh, very
good. So that's kind of a lead capture that that we'll utilize at the events just to, get everybody in the system so that we can, continue to market to them and be in front of them moving forward. But, it's really preference as far as like handouts and different things like that.
Well, cool. Well, I mean, those are some really good tips that you gave us. Is there anything else that I missed or that you would want to share with the audience before we end off today?
I would just say, it needs to be part, regardless of what your business is. Some people may be listening to this right now, Laura, and they may be saying, well, I'm a real estate agent. What am I going to do? Right. Well, partner with somebody in the community, find a mortgage company and find a title company, and you guys put on a big event where you're talking about the latest trends in real estate and all of this kind of stuff. You draw people in, you educate them in that form or fashion. And what it does is it builds again your credibility and your expertise. So people are going to use you as a real estate agent because they're seeing this. They want to work with somebody who's an expert or an authority, right? So I would say, start doing events. Just do them. Just set a date. Think about what you want to come in and teach and what you want. Everybody that's listening to this right now has a knowledge and an expertise that the rest of us don't have. Okay. Either you've learned how to author a book, or you've been through some special training, or you're really good at social media, or you're really good at networking, whatever it is that you're super good at and that you've become an expert at, teach it to the rest of us. That's what it's all about. Getting out, most of the events that I'm doing, I'm getting up and I'm teaching people the things that I've learned as I've grown my business. Most of it is not stuff that I invented or that I created or that I pulled out of the sky. It's all information that I've gained over the years and things that I've learned in my own journey. And now what I'm doing is I'm sharing that information with the masses, saying, hey, listen, I can help you skip a few of the steps, skip a few levels, go through a little bit of less pain, not have to stay up till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning like I did on the computer figuring this stuff out. Just come, sit your butt in the seat at this hotel for, a day with me, and I'll teach you what I've learned. And then you don't have to go try to figure it all out, right? You can just go implement what I'm sharing with you. And everybody listening to this right now has that knowledge and that expertise that will benefit other people in their community. And it's just a matter of saying, okay, this is what I'm good at. This is what I'm going to share with people. And ultimately, the byproduct of that is going to be more business, more credibility, more influence, all of those things. And of course, it's going to blow up your bank account. So do some live events, people. Just stop messing around. Quit being scared.
That's right. That's awesome advice. And it's so true. Like, claim your authority in your space. Like, do it.
Yeah. And Laura, I'll leave them with this. Okay.
Yeah.
I had 6 people at my first event. The very first event I put on, I had 6 people at it. It cost me about $3,000 total to do the event. And I made zero money. As a matter of fact, I offered some kind of online coaching program or something like that, and nobody bought it. Right? And so I lost $3,000 on that event, but I learned a few things in the process. And first and foremost was I had a choice that day. I could have quit and said, hey, listen, I'm not going to do any more events. This is not profitable. This doesn't make any sense. But instead, I sat back and I looked and I said, okay, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? And when I really did look at what I had done to promote that event, I realized that I needed to put that event in front of more people. I needed to market it sooner. I needed to involve some other people in helping me promote it. So I wasn't doing it all on my own. And then it just kind of took off from there. So I would say, just do it. Make sure you go balls to the wall with, marketing this event, and just make it happen.
Well, one thing I want to say that's really cool about doing an event with you, at the end of it, I distinctly remember we all sat down, all the presenters and you, and we sat down and we kind of did like a postmortem on it and said what worked, what didn't work, what are we going to improve on before.
Right.
And that was a great event. I forget how many people we had in the room, but we filled the space.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing. You went from 6 people to probably, I don't know, what's the biggest audience you've ever spoken to?
We've had a couple hundred people in the room.
Yeah.
Easy. At these workshops and seminars. So it's,
So go out there, guys, and do it. So Steve, where can people find you online and how can they connect with you?
Well, they can definitely connect with me on all of our social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, at Steve Hopper Speaks. So again, that's at Steve Hopper Speaks. They can also go to stevehopperspeaks.com and there you can see, upcoming events and different things to that effect. And also, if you go to stevehopperevents.com, then you will see the upcoming event, which is our Profit from Speaking event, which is going to take place on January 23rd in Tampa. So it's a free event. We're doing the first 100 seats for free. So we've already got about half of those filled at this point. So I would tell everybody to just go and register and lock in one of those seats because it is definitely going to fill up between now and the 23rd. And I'm just going to come in there that day and share with everybody how to use speaking out in their community to grow their business. Cool. And it's going to be some very powerful information. Yep. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you also have a checklist or something that we were going to give away to people today. What is that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we have a checklist that we use, our team, for every single event that we do. It's just it's a really good guide for crossing the T's and dotting the I's. And it's amazing when you're going in to do your own event, the things that you forget about, like the name tags and the Sharpies and the whiteboard or all of that. So we have a checklist of everything that you should have with you at your event. And we also kind of break down in our checklist the daily mode of operations. So when we should start promoting, where the venue is, who the volunteers are going to help us at the event, their contact information, if we have sponsors for the event, their contact information, because obviously you want to have meetings scheduled leading up to the event and different things like that to just get all your ducks in a row. And all of that is in the checklist. So we just decided recently that we're going to give that checklist away to everybody for free. So if you go to checklist.com, checklist.com, then you can download that checklist for free. And I hope it will serve you as well as it served us in the planning of our events.
Awesome. I'll put that URL in the show notes so people can get access to that. Steve, thank you for being on the show today. It was great to have you. So much great information.
Yeah, cool. It's always an honor, Laura, to be in your presence. This lady is a rock star, y'all. So make sure you follow her, connect with her, and, just get in her space.
Thank you, Steve.
All right. God bless you guys.
Hey there, I just want to say thank you for spending time with me here today. I know your time is super valuable, which is why I am dedicated to providing lots of usable, actionable information in the shortest amount of time possible. Before you go, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. And if you have ideas or topics you would like me to cover in an upcoming show, let me know about it in the comment section provided.